What's going on, you guys? Knowing your Puerto Rican genealogy. Sorry, I haven't posted much. I got sick with COVID, and my mom got violently sick with COVID. So everything's fine. She's getting better. That kind of thing. So that's what's been happening. So it's been a little bit crazy. Okay, so I did a video on the Canary Islands. One about the Ramos Colon family a couple times, descendants of Columbus and everything, and etc. So we're going to talk about something that's a little bit different, and the question I have for you, do you have any family legend that you did the genealogy and you happen to find that it's true? Now, I have this, I got to throw it there, throw it there, and it was a little bit cold, so I had a flannel. So let's keep it real and let's talk about this. Yeah, there's always a family legend within family history, whether it's somebody was born illegitimate or someone's descendant from a president of the United States or royalty, or supposedly this person was part Native American. That's very common in American history. But in Spanish culture or Latin culture, it's a little bit different. There's always, I was watching about Henry Louis Gates Jr., who is the famous professional genealogist. Dr. Gates is on PBS, and he had a controversial subject was African ancestry in Mexico. Now, there's always a saying in Spanish, which I don't know how to say it in Spanish, Mexican Spanish, that you hide your black grandmother in the closet. So, there's stories about that. There's stories about, like, my dad was born in Brazil, of Nazis running away from trials and settling in South America. And my grandfather would tell me stories like that, my paternal grandfather. So there's stories about that. Now, when it regards to Puerto Rico, there's always a story of Taino ancestry. Usually that's the case, and claiming that they're descendants of Taino royalty. So let's break that part down. Now, I would presume more than 95% of people that have ancestry in Puerto Rico, at least for a couple of generations, has a good chance of having some Native American ancestry, including also North African ancestry for sure, because a good chunk of people in Puerto Rico has Canarian ancestry, and sometimes they would marry into the Berbers. I can tell you 100% sure that the Ramos Colon family, who are actually descendants paternally of Pereira, which was Juan Benitez de Lugo. His father was Pereira, who was born in the Canary Islands, and his ancestry goes back to a Berber princess who was there before the conquest with Alonso Fernandez de Lugo. We presume that all the descendants of Clemencia Ramos Colon and Guillermo de Lugo de Figueroa has Berber ancestry. It shows up in my DNA. It shows up in a lot of people's DNA. And this includes like the de Lugo Sotomayor, Sotomayor, because sometimes the de Lugo family took Sotomayor as the surname, or Soto, which means a grove or a meadow in Spanish. So you have that. Also, I do know that everyone says that Cristobal de Sotomayor married an Indian and had children, and that's true. Did he have descendants? There's no proof one way or the other. I presume he does, but the paper trail runs out really fast. You would have to go to the Archives of Indies in Seville to look that up. The other thing is, if I am the surname Torche and of European descent, am I a descendant of Juan Ponce de Leon? The good answer is most likely yes. Now, I know that's going to sound pretty crazy, but the descendants of Juan Ponce de Leon comes from females. His only son, or legitimate son, Luis, was a priest that never had children. But his oldest daughter, Juana, and his other daughter, Leonor, did marry two brothers They were from Valladolid, Spain. And obviously, this surname is there, which is Torche or Ponce de Leon. So, or Ponce. Excuse me, I have a little bit more still after this. So you have that, just to let you guys know. So you have those legends. You have other legends, at least in my family, that my great-grandmother, whose surname was Colon, said that she was descendant of Christopher Columbus. There was no proof until I found the Plato's or de Colon or Agimento de Colon, which was the lawsuits, and basically Luis Davila y Colon was not the oldest. His mother was a direct descendant, so would he would be because he descends from his mother. He states that he was the oldest son, and that's not the truth. There was a boy, a baby, who lasted for 3 years named Cristobal, 1 year, 1579, 1580. Bernardo, nobody knows who Bernardo was. It's believed that Bernardo was the third oldest. Then there was Luis, and then Juan, and out of the brothers, there was Juana and Maria Magdalena, too, and those two sisters never, at least what I can understand, never got married. Maria Magdalena was a godmother with her father in a baptism of a child. Luis Davila Colon got married twice, and through his second wife, Francisca de Sandoval, what I understand, has 2 children. Cristobal Davila Colon, baptized April 4, 1604, and an older sister named Magdalena de Sandoval, who took her mother's surname. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had a third child named Luis Colon, who was known as El Leproso, the leper. It was actually his son, who his son died of leprosy. He was probably born about that time period when the baptismal records don't exist, and because of that, he most likely was the eldest. Luis Colon married Maria de Castellanos, and they have descendants. Now, there's the Jesus Colon, and it goes back to a man named Bartolome de la Concepcion, or Bartolome Colon, and his wife Maria de Jesus, and the children, he had 2 sons, were de Jesus Colon, Domingo, and another son. I forgot the son's name. I think it was Raphael is the other son. And no one knows really if Bartolome Colon is Bartolome Colon de Torres, who shows up at the July 1st, 1700 military muster at San Román and Ponce, or he's the grandson of Luis Colon and Maria de Castellanos. There's no proof one way or the other, but it's either one or the other. He's Colon de Torres, which he descends from Luis Colon de los Santos de Torres and Francisco Ortiz de Peña y López de Alazada, or he's the son of Francisco Colon y Castellanos and Juana de la Concepcion. So it's unknown. And so you have stuff like that, and you're going to run into this all the time. You're going to run into sons not having the same surname as the father. Doesn't make him illegitimate. It just, that's how it goes by inheritance. Jose Ramos Colon was the legitimate son of Guillermo de Lugo and Clemencia Ramos Colon. And Jose and Josefa most likely could be twins. I descend from both, so. And Jose Ramos Colon, some of his descendants took Colon and some of them took Ramos. Which, fun fact, I descend from both lines, that's Ramos and Colon. So, you're going to get stuff like that, and there's always rumors that I had Irish ancestry. My grandma has red hair. Find out we're descendants of Sebastian de Murphy, the founder of Utuado. And his father was from Dublin, was a vice admiral in a fleet that was captured by the French off of Texas. And for his bravery, he was knighted the Order of Santiago, which shows out his parents and grandparents, where they were from. He descends from the Earls of Kildare, which is Kildare, Ireland. And he later became a governor of Santo Domingo. And through his first wife, they had Sebastian Antonio de Murphy. Now, that I know because of the records, military records, etc. And then, you're going to get stuff like Menendez versus Melendez. I have that in Manatee, Puerto Rico. It's basically the same family. My second great grandfather was Eleuterio Colon Menendez, who was a direct descendant of from his father's line to the Colon family in Puerto Rico and San Ramon, and direct descendant from his mother's side during this direct descendant Governor Don Diego Menendez de Valdez and his wife Elena de Valdez. So you have stuff like that, and then my great grandmother, my grandma's mother was de Jesus, was really Colon. So you get stuff like that, and then so you're gonna run into things like that. You're gonna run into families leaving, like Santo Domingo, going to Puerto Rico, Cuba. I have that. Venezuela, I have that too. I have a strange surname Cornelius. Whether it's Belgian, Dutch, or German, no one knows. How did he get to Venezuela? There's the same family with the same surname from the same town, but we don't know how they're related. In the 1600s, they marry conversos, so you have scenarios like that. And then you have Liberon the Quinones, which descendants of the Soderini family. So who knows? So just to let you guys know, that's the update. If you have any questions or comments, please post on this. Like and subscribe, and catch you guys later.